Hello and welcome to today's Q&A with one of my favourite people, Rebecca Newenham from Get Ahead, and we're going to be talking all about franchising. So I've had some questions sent, so thank you for people that have sent their questions. If you've got any questions as we're chatting, either now or on the replay, please pop them in the comments or send me or Rebecca a message and we will try and get them answered. But today we're doing a Q&A about franchising. So thank you so much, Rebecca, for joining us today.
Pleasure, Liz. Always lovely.
It's a pleasure. Rebecca is a franchise expert. Do you want to tell people a little about what you do and how you help people?
Yes, so I franchised my business Get Ahead probably 4 or 5 years ago. So building franchisees around the UK and in Australia. And I'm also a franchise consultant, so working with Ashton's Franchising on helping people franchise their businesses. Because I'm so interested / nosy in other businesses and how, you know, franchising has been the perfect solution for me, and I really want to bang that drum. It's so interesting. I was just saying to Liz before we went live, I had a call with somebody today who was interested in our franchise, and she said she'd shared it with a friend who said, "Oh, franchise, that's dodgy," you know. And we all have our feelings about it, don't we? And I'm here very much to sort of bang the drum and demystify and promote the positive sides to ethical franchising. You know, I'm part of the British Franchise Association. I've got a qualification with them, and that's all around my appreciation of running an ethical franchise rather than a dodgy one. And obviously you get dodgy wherever you go, don't you? But it's sort of unpicking that. And I think
maybe there's a preconcept, because I don't think of franchising as dodgy, because I know most of the companies that we use on a day-to-day basis are franchises. Like we've spoken about before, like McDonald's is a franchise. I think Domino's is a franchise. And you know, and I'm never had bad service in McDonald's actually, or
oh, well done.
Yeah, and a lot of the all the baby groups that I've gone to have been franchised.
Yeah, of course. There's a huge children's market, isn't there?
So I've always had a positive experience as a consumer with franchises, but I wonder if it's because maybe people get confused between a franchise and then is it the MLM, the market?
Yes, high level, and the pyramid scheme, and thinking, well, people are benefiting from you in a non-ethical way.
Yeah, and I wonder if that's maybe it's just me.
Yeah, no, we need to do a separate thing on that thing. And I was just saying, to the consultant, I think we need to do some blogs and marketing around that, you know, that dodgy perception and why we're not. Yeah, it's interesting.
Anyway, brilliant. Well, we've had some questions about franchising, so we can start off with the first one and then the rest. So what should be the key factors that somebody should consider when choosing which franchise or, you know, a franchise to invest in?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. So I guess there's doing a deeper dive into the business you're interested in. First of all, who's it run by? How long have they been going? I always say when I have prospect franchisees, you know, I want them to speak to existing members of my team, because it's all very well, you know, me chatting or the franchise owner chatting to you, but if you really want to get a proper understanding, then it's making sure you've got access to live people in that system. And the finances are a big thing, because I will always say, you know, you have to build momentum with the business. It's buying any franchise, you're not suddenly going to be walking away on a salary that you'd be getting in a corporate role within minutes. So it's being realistic. So it's making sure that whoever you're talking to, the franchisor, that they're giving you access to that information and understanding, you know, what are they giving you for that license fee? Because generally you'll pay a one-off license fee that lasts for a fixed term. So in our case, it's £8,000 for a 5-year license. The price of a coffee a day is how we sort of promote it. But actually you want to know what are you getting for that. And generally it'll be the manual, learning about how the business works, contracts, you know, everything to operate that business. So you just need to be very clear. And working as a franchise consultant, when we're supporting brands that want to franchise, we factor in all these different costs in the overall fee as well. So it's making sure that the people you're talking to have done that, and that you feel you're getting the value. And I think with a franchise, you're tapping into somebody's marketing. You know, you want to just check how they appear online, because it's all very well a franchise owner saying, oh yes, we get X, Y, and Z. You need to actually see that. And then, for example, I've written a book about ours. You know, that's an additional bit of information that I'm giving. So it's sort of how valuable the information that that brand is pumping out is, and how consistent they are. You know, we all know it's all very well saying I've got a website as a franchise owner, but if it's not being updated and you're not getting fresh content, then that's quite stale. So you need to feel very comfortable about that value piece.
Mm-hmm. Do you think you should have used the franchise at some, I mean, obviously not all, some of them may be a bit difficult, but like, do you think it's an advantage to have used it as a consumer? So like we talked about the baby groups and...
No, if it's something that you could use, that's an interesting one. And again, I've been speaking to a prospect a couple of weeks ago, and she said actually she's already running a business. Could she try out some of our virtual help, for example? So it's actually that. So yeah, you're right. I think if you've sampled something, you've had a positive experience, that's great. And certainly, I think with franchising, it's that consistency bit. So perhaps trying it in different areas gives you that value piece. So like you say, the baby group, I'm sure the baby group you went to in South London, you would hope to have the same experience if you were going to it in Leeds, for example, because it's franchise and they'll be running a system. But equally, a big thing about a franchise is you're running it in, you've got autonomy. And I think that's another big thing. It's sort of, I as a franchisor want my franchisees to run their businesses with their own personality, but under our guidance as well. So it's sort of a fine balance.
Yeah, okay. And you said the
BFA, British
Franchise. You need to make sure that you're the franchise that you're interested
in.
in.
They have a wealth of content on there. They've just relaunched their website actually, and it's huge value. And there's the franchise show. So I'm going to be at Olympia in London, 9th and 10th of June. So all of those things. And I remember when I was thinking about franchising Get Ahead, I went to those shows. I'd heard what people were talking about. There's always free content available. So that's probably...
Okay, so definitely if you're interested in franchising and you're around on the 9th of 10 or 9th, 10th of June, you can get to London. You can get...
Yeah, and there's one in Birmingham in October. So having a look, the BFA is a wonderful resource for anyone wanting to sort of learn more.
Brilliant. Okay. And what are the main benefits of owning a franchise compared to starting your own business? Or
where do I start?
Scratch? Yeah.
So autonomy in the sense that you can run your own business, but with the backing and within a framework of someone that's done it before, so a tried and tested model. There is cash to be made, and that's a big consideration when you're speaking to someone, because you can imagine, we've always said this in the past, when you set up your business, you had to do your website, you had to get your branding, you have to pay for your marketing, all those bits add up considerably. So to fit into a franchise model where someone's already done that and they can show you the best things to do is super valuable. Lifestyle, I believe, is a big thing. So for us at Get Ahead, it's all around flexibility. I'm offering opportunity for someone to be flexible to work within school hours, for example. Yeah. Now, the other franchises, like you've already said, that give where somebody going into it can flex their time, because that's how it operates. And it's not having to, when you start on your own without any support from anyone else, you could be working 24/7, can't you, which is tricky. And then training is a big one. So I know ethical franchises where they're launching in a new area will provide a huge induction program for their new franchisees. So if I use Get Ahead as an example, we do LinkedIn training, we have training on how to network, how to launch your business, we do press releases, all those things that will launch somebody. That's a given when you're buying into a franchise, rather than you having to think, oh, who do I use for this and what do I do? And, you know,
yeah, and that's expensive.
Hugely expensive. And it's all economies of scale. And for me as a franchise owner, the costs that I'm pumping out to support my team would be the same if I had 25 franchisees. It doesn't really matter. So, but for a franchisee joining, you know you're part of that bigger network where you're going to get the support. And the tried and tested thing is really big, because you can imagine for me, I'm 5 years into franchising. I'm continually tweaking, checking things. And I love it when I have a new franchisee launch with us, because I'm benefiting from their experience as well. So we've just launched down on the South Coast. Lisa's joined us with a very strong PR and marketing background. She's come up with some wonderful quick wins for us to do. And I'm hugely privileged to be in that position where I can switch around things and learn from other people.
Yeah. Brilliant. Actually, that leads on to the next question. So what sort of training and support could somebody expect?
Yeah, so you should
franchise like Get Ahead.
Be looking for, you should really get the franchise you're interested in buying really clear on that, because the last thing you want is just sort of a vague little bit of information. So look to see if they'll do a bespoke one dependent on your background. So I will do that. I remember we've launched a franchise in the past, and I gave them some training in public speaking because I need my franchisees to be comfortable talking to other people in different environments and things. So it's making sure that you delve quite deeply into what training they give, and is it continual training. So for us, we have a monthly call, for example, where all my franchisees are invited along. You know, we're continually checking in with them, seeing how they're doing. So that might be an important thing to think about. Are you signing up to something, and you know, do you see the franchise team very often? How does that work? So they're all sort of valid questions to ask.
Really good. Okay. And you talked about like the cost. It was sort of like the price of a coffee a day. What other ongoing costs do your franchisees tend to have? I mean, do a lot of them work from home?
Yeah, I think so. You can imagine some are more technical. So I can hear my dog barking. Some are more technical, so they need specific things. But if I'm looking at our one, it's, you know, that someone needs a laptop, they need a mobile phone. That's about it. But I think for some, you'll need to learn a system, which is interesting. Which comes, sorry, this is real life, Liz, isn't it?
It's fine. I'm just, yeah, because you know, it's so interesting because I probably pay that cup of coffee a day just for like web hosting.
No, exactly. So
there's other bits on. I mean, you know, I wish it was just the cost of a cup of coffee a day, but it isn't, because then there's marketing.
Yeah, because of economies of scale, that's how I can offer it. And because I've come, you know, I was a retail buyer in a pre-mummy life, marketing has always been hugely important to me, and branding, and we get recognised for that. Some people it's not a huge consideration for, but it's, yeah, it's the benefit of a franchise is that you're tapping into those economies of scale and therefore getting the value on the back of someone else sort of funding that.
It's really interesting, because I'm just thinking, like, I did B School. I don't know if you heard of B School with Marie Folio.
Oh, yeah, no, yes, yeah.
Last year, and it was good. I mean, that was like £2,500, you know, which is expensive, isn't it? And huge. You know, it's an additional cost though.
Yeah, and then if you're factoring that out over a year, you suddenly realise what you're spending. And I think for us, you know, we've got our lovely monthly plan that I provide the franchisees, and it's themed, and my franchise consultant Brooke devises that. You know, that's huge value. The blogs, fresh content coming. So that's another big thing. Check in with a potential franchise. You know, what marketing are they providing on an ongoing basis? You don't want just to be launched and then that's it. You need to understand what other things are coming with that, and you want to be buying into a living and breathing, sort of evolving brand, rather than something that's like, this is how we do it, we wouldn't ever think about changing. You know, you want something that sort of works with you, and that they place value on your opinions as well.
It's good, isn't it? I mean, I'm just thinking like the marketing, because I suppose, like, I'm thinking when I was like finding a baby group, if I knew something quite big like Heartbeats, I don't know if Heartbeats is franchised or not, but it strikes me as it would be a good franchise. So I'd be surprised if it wasn't. But you would go on like the Heartbeats website, wouldn't you? Which was a national website that obviously someone had, the franchisor, and then, you know,
and find your location. And interestingly, we've just launched our new website, and we're very clear on, you know, find your location, which is the nearest office for you. You want to make it as easy as you can for the consumer to get access to you. And my individual franchisees, if they weren't part of us, they'd be having to set all of that up themselves. And there's something hugely beneficial, I think, in that UK-wide network, isn't there?
Do they have their own websites, or do they?
They have a sort of mini site within ours, and actually from an SEO point of view, that works much better than lots of little sub-sites. But they can create and manage that page how they want. We sort of give suggestions, and funnily enough, on our call today, I was saying, you know, please let us all know if you're going to certain events. We could pop those on, because again, as we all know, Google loves sort of fresh content and sort of new things. So again, SEO is a big thing to check in with the franchise as well. You know, what do they do for that, and how are they showing up on social media and things.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, and final question: can you predict actually any emerging trends in franchising, and anything that potential franchisees should be aware of?
Not necessarily evolving trends. I think it's certainly because the ethical piece is really strong now. And I think there's certainly a lot more education about the validity and the strength of buying into a franchise. And as I said, the BFA website is a wonderful resource. You'll see brands in there that you hadn't possibly realised were franchises. as well as, you know, you said the McDonald's, you know, those standard ones. You're probably selling. I remember when I was researching it, so I'm thinking, I had no idea that that business was a franchise, but now it makes sense because your experience with that brand should be the same wherever you are in the country, and so that factors into how franchising works, because you're buying into a tried and tested system. And it's quite surprising then, you know, food and drink brands that are franchising, just going to the franchise show is like, you know, you look around and think, oh, I had no idea that gym was a franchise, or this, you know.
Gosh, I don't know about that. What about hairdressers? I'm thinking like
exactly, the whole Tony and Guy piece. And Black Sheep Coffee is another hugely emerging brand that's a franchise, and they're sort of popping up everywhere. And we've got, I know it's not a franchise, but Megan's restaurant has just come to Guildford, and I keep popping in there, and it's amazing. But, you know, they're a strong brand that I could imagine could be something like a sort of franchise brand. Yeah, it's interesting looking, but I think it's the ethical piece, is the strong messaging that's coming out now to sort of say, look, and a huge push for women in franchising. And I'm going to be on a panel for the BFA in September. They're doing a female-centric event, and we're talking about the power of connection. And, you know, I love all of that. It all comes as additional things. It's not just we're just talking about franchising. It's sort of how we can have, as a community, be really engaged together.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely need more women in business, and I think this is such a great way.
Well, it's a great, and that whole piece around, you know, making every minute matter. You know, it's very easy to sort of say, oh, well, I'll do that tomorrow. You know, and actually, I love, you know, I've probably been listening to podcasts more and more, especially since lockdown, and the likes of, you know, Mel Robbins, Fern Cotton's Happy Place, all those things are amazing in terms of actually where you spend your time and where you get your energy and joy from. That's what you want to be looking for in a franchise. You don't, I said I had this conversation with a lovely girl this morning, and she's in a very corporate job, which is fine, you know, it pays the bills, she gets that consistency. She said, but I'm missing something. And it's the whole flex message, isn't it? About actually the time we have, we should be spending doing things that give us energy and joy, not slogging away at something because that's what we think we need to do to pay the bills. So that's not.
And obviously a lot of companies are ordering people back to work now, or back to the office. I know most people have work in some form or other, but yeah, back to the office. And so if you want flex work, then now is a great time. And obviously Rebecca is a great person to chat to, because she's such an advocate. So where can people find you, connect with you, and learn more about you, Get Ahead, and the services you offer? We
were laughing, weren't we, earlier, Liz? I got into LinkedIn jail this week, so I've sent too many messages or something ridiculous. So yeah, LinkedIn is...
You can message Rebecca though.
Exactly. So LinkedIn is where I hang out, and our website is headva.com, and I'm also, as I said, a franchise consultant at Ashton's Franchising. So again, the Olympia franchise show would be a great one for anyone wanting to.
Yeah, okay, maybe we'll put that in the show notes, because that's coming up. So 9th
and 10th of June. Yeah, I can send you the link for that.
Brilliant. So yeah, if you are in London, can get to London, interested in franchising, interested in owning your own business, and that sounds like it would be a brilliant, really worthwhile couple of days.
Yes.
Thank you. You obviously can meet Rebecca as well. Yeah, thank you so much, Rebecca, and thank you to everyone that's watched and submitted questions.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.